Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Hope you all had a wonderful and safe weekend. And a quick shout out to my newest patrons, Thayer and Evan. I greatly appreciate the support. Getting into it today, Ray for Tesla had an excellent reminder tweet. Still incredible how Cathie Wood was right in her plea for Tesla to remain public. When Elon was thinking of taking Tesla private at $4.20 a share in August 2018, Cathie thought it was greatly undervalued. Glad Elon listened and investors were given the chance for a long ride. This is such a good reminder that back in 2018, Tesla stock could have gone private had things played out differently, and ultimately many of the newly minted Tesla millionaires would not exist. Now, sure, it might not be 100% because of this letter from Cathie Wood and ARK Invest to Elon and co, but either way, I think we should be grateful to Cathie for their plea to keep Tesla stock public. And here is part of that letter from Cathie and team if you want to take a look. Basically, they just urged Elon that Tesla is undervalued, keep it public to give investors a chance to participate in the ride of success. Great tweet here from Meyer saying Tesla auto gross margins rose significantly in Q2 this year, while the average sale price has basically stagnated at all-time lows around $47,000. Now, this verbiage could lead one to interpret it as that's a bad thing, but in my opinion, Tesla's overarching goal is to continually drive down the cost of their vehicles to make them more affordable for the masses. And of course, over time, as they get away from the S and X and more toward the mass market, the average sale price is going to come down. Pair that with continually getting better at manufacturing efficiencies, once more driving costs down. Anyway, this is prior to regulatory credit revenue. This is only possible with serious operating leverage and higher manufacturing efficiency, which reduces the cost of goods sold per unit. I really like this chart, but the main takeaways, as you can see, this blue line is the average sale price over time for the trailing 12 months. This chart goes back to September 30th of 2013. And that leaves the red bars as the automotive gross margin percent, as you can see, most recently hovering right around 24-25%. Remember, this is prior to regulatory credit revenue. And in case you're wondering what this dip in the automotive gross margin percent was, this was when the Model 3 was introduced, which of course is going to have lower gross margins than the Model S and X, the high-end premium vehicles. But since the introduction of the Model 3, as you can see, the average sale price has steadily come down, with the automotive gross margins steadily going up, which is exactly what we want to see as shareholders and supporters of Tesla. So great chart to look at and to know right here. Real quick, if you're wondering what's going on with the stock market and crypto today, there is a sea of red out there. So I just wanted to share this very quickly. Some of this red can be attributed to fears over property developer China Evergrande Group. Investors increasingly believe that Beijing will let Evergrande fail and inflict losses on its shareholders and bondholders. The company's debt burden is the biggest for any publicly traded real estate management or development company in the world. How big, you may be wondering? Well, I'm glad you asked. We are talking $300 billion in debt, and reportedly the company has around $200 billion in assets, but they're having trouble offloading their assets because they are heavily a real estate company and they're struggling to unload that fairly illiquid asset set. So why might this be a problem if indeed this company does fail and the Chinese government decides not to bail it out? Well, simply put, all of the investors, banks, and other money that was invested into that company, all of that money is now going to be in jeopardy. So banks or investors may have to sell off other assets to essentially make up for those losses from the investments in that Evergrande company. Now, it's clearly a lot more nuanced than that, but for the purposes of this news topic in Tesla, that's all we need for now. Here's a news item that I think a lot of people will be sleeping on because it definitely won't garner major headlines, but it's very important to the battery energy storage space, and hopefully we see this not just in Australia, but in other locales as well. From October 1st and onwards, we may see national electricity market rules come into effect. In particular, the introduction of 5-minute settlement, or 5MS, which will replace 30-minute settlement. 5MS is set to be massive for battery storage. And I do think this topic is going to be important to know, so let's go through this together. If a battery asset's stored energy is dispatched into the market over a 5-minute period when the price is high, but then the price drops, the battery asset operator effectively gets a lower payment than the power was worth at that time. So this does not incentivize fast technologies like battery storage that try to come in those short periods of time when they could be needed because they would not get that high price. It could be much, much lower. With 5ms, it will move it to not be this average over the 30 minutes. It will mean that if you bid during that 5-minute period, you will get dispatched at that price. You'll be settled at that price in that 5-minute period. So it's really providing another incentive for those fast technologies to come in as needed for short periods of time. That can be massive. So simply put, moving from that 30-minute window to a 5-minute window will encourage more people to move toward battery energy storage to take advantage of prices and lock them in when it is more beneficial to do so. I have linked this full article below if you want to read more. This topic is getting a lot of attention today as the new National Transportation Safety Board chair is sharing her opinion about Tesla, full self-driving, autopilot, and the like. This opinion coming from Jennifer Homendy saying that Tesla's use of the term full self-driving is misleading and irresponsible, adding Tesla has clearly misled numerous people to misuse and abuse technology. But I do want to stress here that yes, this is just her personal opinion. This may not lead to any specific regulatory action, and the NTSB, which investigates crashes and issues safety recommendations, it has no regulatory authority. Now, we do not need to spend a lot of time here. This is just more of the same. People in politics, in office, just saying, hey, they're worried about Tesla's naming and how the public may perceive what Tesla is calling its self-driving features. And sadly, the reality is that this type of thing is going to happen for years to come as more of the public is exposed to Tesla's autopilot and full self-driving, and it becomes a bigger deal and there is more regulation that is needed. Good to see this news item here, although it's kind of sad that it came to this at all, but Tesla did agree to finally honor their solar roof prices on signed contracts. Tesla's lawyers informed the plaintiffs in the consolidated case that the company started a program for customers who signed solar roof contracts before April 2021 price changes to return those customers to their original pricing. A long story short, some solar roof customers signed contracts, then Tesla said they were going to raise the price after the customer signed those contracts. Then a few of those cases were brought forth. They were consolidated into a class action suit, and this is the seeming result that Tesla is going to honor the original contracts, which in my opinion should have been plain as day. A contract is a contract, and Tesla should have just bit the bullet at the time. And yes, it's definitely not ideal that these customers had to take Tesla to court to get them to honor those original contracts, but what's done is done. Hopefully Tesla will learn from that mistake going forward. No company is perfect, but it's good to see that those customers will finally have their original contracts honored. This video was trending on Reddit today. As you can see, this truck carrying a tree basically was not coming up on the visualization in the Tesla dash. But what's important to note here is there are no driver assist features turned on. There is no blue up top. So you can't just immediately assume that this car would run into that vehicle and that tree, because this could be a situation where, sure, the system cannot label that object accurately, hence nothing shows up, but that doesn't just mean that the car wouldn't stop if need be in that type of scenario. But I would be remiss if I didn't share one of the better comments I've seen in some time. So the first one, somebody said, the final edge case boss. This probably really isn't the final edge case, but you get it. But somebody said, correction, hedge case. Well done, my friend, well done. And you've probably seen over the weekend that as of September 18th, 2021, vehicle products and solar panels are no longer eligible for referral rewards. Now, the only product that is eligible is the solar roof, coming in at a $500 reward upon permission to operate the system. Tesla is offering free upgrades to Model 3 reservation holders in Europe as part of the end of quarter push. Sadly, I have not seen any incentives in the US, but after responding yes to a text message, Tesla is giving the choice of 2 of the following free upgrades: upgraded wheels, enhanced autopilot, or a premium paint color. The free incentives are only valid for customers who place an order before September 10th this year, and so far it's only been noted in Germany and Switzerland. The Tesla Model Y is now approved as per the road vehicle type approvals in Australia. 3 variants of the Model Y will be approved for sale, and while that doesn't technically guarantee the models Tesla will actually offer, it's a strong indication we'll see the standard range, long range, and performance models, but all 3 of these will only be in the 5-seater variant to start. No pricing has been given, nor any timeline on the arrival of these vehicles in Australia as of now. In response to a Whole Mars Catalog FSD video with 0 interventions, Elon said, "Remarkable how few people realize this capability exists. Many think it's 5 years away. With public beta rollout in coming weeks, awareness should improve dramatically. While I agree to a certain extent, I also think you're always going to have critics and people that think it's never going to happen and people that think it's going to take decades when they look at the edge cases and see the places where this still fails. But I think it's really important that these people actually compare what's going on with the rest of the industry. You have Tesla and what they're doing and all of those videos, and you can see they're really not even playing the same game. All other companies' driver assist features are like elementary level, and then you have what Tesla is doing with FSD on city streets and on the edge cases, basically playing at the world-class professional level. So to compare the two as an apples to apples comparison is just ridiculous, and I think most of the public doesn't yet understand that because some of the public will just see the edge cases in the bad and then write off everything else. And part of the problem is they don't know what Tesla is trying to optimize for, which is true full self-driving anywhere on the planet, not geofenced, all of the things that most of you guys already know. But I do hope that Elon is right and we're not 5 years away and that the public awareness does increase dramatically here soon. He was asked, how are you judging good behavior over that 7-day period? Tesla insurance calculator will show status in real time and tell you what actions are needed to be rated a good driver. Is the Tesla insurance calculator on shadow mode world over? Elon said no, it has to be turned on by the car owner. If you are on autopilot a lot, how does it calculate it? Elon said good. And the question so many people have been wondering, will FSD subscribers be eligible for the beta? To which Elon said yes. He was asked, will the beta button judge your driving 7 days before you press the button or 7 days after it? We were all wondering this, and he said 7 days after approval to log your driving style. So definitely a very exciting time for the FSD beta in the next few weeks and months as it's widened to more users. However, that brings an entirely new set of challenges and risks, and my fingers are definitely crossed that Tesla's filtering and their insurance system does indeed only give this to very attentive drivers and people who are responsible and ready to handle this technology. Now, of course, mistakes and problems are inevitable to some degree, but let's try to limit them as much as possible. Rensing said the president of the US has refused to even acknowledge the 4 newest American astronauts who helped raise hundreds of millions of dollars for St. Jude. What's your theory on why that is? Elon said he's still sleeping. And the Blake Check on Twitter said the reason I have such a hard time rooting for Tesla's competitors is because most of them fought tooth and nail to prevent an EV revolution. They mocked Tesla for years, now they want our support. So yeah, I'll support them, but forgive me for not being thrilled about it. I could not share this sentiment anymore myself. On one hand, yes, the world needs more companies to have clean, sustainable vehicles and energy storage options, but it really is very hard to root for Tesla's competitors for those reasons just mentioned. They have been dragging their feet and talking so much trash on Tesla over the years. The only reason they're even making EVs now is because their hand is being forced by Tesla, not because they actually care about the environment. With that said, I really do hope we see more Rivians, more Lucids, and more pure EV plays that come to market that don't have the burden of the legacy OEM and all of that old infrastructure, because that will be very difficult to overcome, and they're honestly in a very tough spot. But where do you guys fall? Are you rooting for these other OEMs to produce EVs and wanting to see them succeed? Or are you secretly only rooting for Tesla because, well, you know what, screw those guys for what they did over the last 10 years. But that is all for today. Please take a second to like the video if you did. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and a big thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. And just as I was uploading this video for today, Elon came out with a very important tweet. So Ray for Tesla said, Giga Russia coming. Sharing a tweet from Factory, Russian officials report Elon decided to build Tesla's plant in Russia in the city of Korolev. But very quickly, Elon then denied those rumors, saying Tesla has not yet decided on a 4th Gigafactory location. So this of course doesn't mean it won't be in Russia, but India is still in the running, and I just wanted to get that out there. To be clear, Tesla is still undecided on that next Gigafactory. But this does also imply that yes, indeed, there is a next 4th Gigafactory coming, as they are deciding on the location. But that is now all for today. Go off and enjoy your day.